Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered if your reflection is more than just an image? Science shows that our brains create our entire reality from electrical signals, meaning the colors, sounds, and even our sense of self might be sophisticated illusions our minds have constructed. In this video, you'll discover how neuroscience, quantum physics, and ancient wisdom traditions reveal the mind-bending secret behind what we call reality. These seemingly separate fields converge on one fascinating possibility: that what you experience as reality is being created by the very consciousness trying to understand it. The illusion of perception: how your brain creates your reality. Have you ever noticed how, when you look at your face in the mirror, you see something entirely different than what others see? This gap between what we perceive and what exists might be far wider than you realize. What if I told you that the world you're experiencing right now isn't actually out there at all? Our senses don't actually show us reality as it exists. What we experience as sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell are electrical signals that our brain interprets and constructs into a coherent picture. Think about it. When you look around the room you're in right now, you believe you're seeing everything as it truly is. But neuroscience tells us a different story. According to researchers, we're experiencing a highly filtered version of reality, one where our brain throws away most of the incoming data and fills in enormous gaps with assumptions and predictions. It's like watching a movie where half the frames are missing, but your brain fills in the blanks so seamlessly that you never notice. When you look at a tree, you're not actually seeing the tree itself. What you experience is your brain's best guess of what a tree should look like based on incomplete information. Your visual system captures limited wavelengths of light, ignores most of it, and then constructs an image from past experiences. This isn't just about trees. Every object in your world is your brain's educated guess about reality. Most fascinating of all, scientists have discovered that your brain operates on a time delay. Every moment you experience has already happened by the time you become aware of it. By the time you consciously register touching something, that touch occurred about half a second earlier. It's like watching a live video feed that's slightly delayed. You're perpetually living in the past, though your brain creates the illusion of a seamless present. Consider color, something we assume is a fixed property of the world. But our perception is extremely limited. When you mix spectral red and green light, you see yellow. Not both colors simultaneously, as you might with musical tones. Color exists in your mind as your brain interprets different wavelengths of light. Your visual system has significant limitations. Each eye has a blind spot where the optic nerve connects to your retina, and your vision consists of rapid snapshots called saccades. Your brain fills in these gaps, creating the illusion of continuous complete vision when you're actually seeing discrete images stitched together. Your brain does this primarily to save energy. Processing the full complexity of reality would require far more resources than available. Evolution shaped your perceptual systems to show you what's useful for survival, compressing massive amounts of sensory data into a manageable interface, like your computer compressing a high-resolution photo. What you're experiencing isn't reality itself, but a user interface your brain has constructed. Your perceptions are simplified representations of a complex reality, similar to how a desktop icon represents a program, but isn't the actual program it opens. When you touch something, you believe you're making direct contact with the real world. In truth, you're experiencing your brain's interpretation of electrical signals from pressure receptors in your skin. There's no direct connection between your consciousness and the outside world, only this interface your brain creates. As we move forward, notice that this applies to something even more fundamental, your sense of self. The same brain that constructs your experience of trees, colors, and objects is also constructing the sense that there's a you experiencing it all. The phantom self, unmasking the observer. That final brain trick that weaves your entire perception into a coherent experience is perhaps the most astonishing of all. The same mechanism that constructs trees and colors also manifests something far more intimate. The sensation of a singular you witnessing it all unfold. But when scientists began searching for this central observer in the brain, what they discovered challenges our most basic assumptions about identity. Think about the last time you drove home and suddenly realized you couldn't remember the journey. Your body performed complex actions while your mind wandered elsewhere, yet somehow you still felt like you were present the whole time. This common experience reveals something profound about consciousness that neuroscientists have uncovered through fascinating research. The split brain experiments demonstrate this reality vividly. Something remarkable happened when researchers surgically severed the connection between brain hemispheres and presented visual information to just the right hemisphere. When patients were asked why they took specific actions, the left hemisphere, utterly unaware of what the right hemisphere saw, invented completely fictional explanations for behaviors it didn't initiate or understand. Your conscious mind operates as a storyteller, creating coherent narratives to explain your experiences, whether those explanations are true or not. This storytelling extends beyond laboratory settings into everyday life. Your sense of being a unified self is a narrative your brain constructs moment by moment, stitching together fragments of memory, sensation, and emotion with you as the protagonist. Consider who you were 10 years ago. Different thoughts, goals, and emotions moved you. Physically, almost every cell in your body has been replaced since then. Yet somehow, a sense of continuity persists. This continuity isn't maintained by any fixed essence, but through memory, which undergoes constant revision. Whenever you recall a memory, your brain reconstructs rather than retrieves it. Each recall subtly alters the memory, incorporating new information and present emotions. Your past shifts continuously, while the narrative of a continuous self persists. You aren't accessing a perfect archive of who you were. You're creating a story connecting your past to your present. Buddhist traditions recognize this phenomenon through the concept of anatta, or no self, over 2,500 years ago. This ancient wisdom suggests that what we call self is just a bundle of shifting thoughts, sensations, and memories. There is no permanent, unchanging essence that could be called you. Modern neuroscience findings align remarkably well with this perspective. This search for a singular self unravels into an intriguing loop, where the act of observing is itself observed. If you identify with your thoughts, then who is aware of those thoughts? If you identify as the observer of thoughts, then who observes that observer? This inquiry leads to philosopher J. Krishnamurti's fascinating realization. The observer is the observed. The watcher of thoughts is not separate from the thoughts themselves. They are aspects of the same process. This recursive loop reveals something profound. The division between observer and observed is itself constructed. They are not separate entities but aspects of the same unified field of awareness, experiencing itself through different forms. The quantum mirror, how consciousness shapes reality. That unified field of awareness doesn't just shape our inner experience, it might be creating the entire physical world around us. When scientists peered into the quantum realm expecting to find concrete reality, they discovered something that defies all common sense. Observation itself appears to determine what exists. Have you ever wondered why the most fundamental building blocks of our universe don't behave like anything we encounter in our everyday lives? At the quantum level, the realm of atoms and subatomic particles, reality behaves more like a sea of possibilities than the solid world we experience. For nearly a century, this has left physicists scratching their heads, wondering what this means about the nature of existence. The double-slit experiment reveals this mystery beautifully. When scientists fire individual particles at a barrier with two slits, something extraordinary happens. If no one is watching which slit the particle goes through, it behaves like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and creating an interference pattern on the detector screen behind. But the moment scientists observe which slit the particle travels through, it suddenly behaves like a definite particle going through just one slit. It's as if the particle knows it's being watched. Imagine this like an undecided vote that remains in multiple possible states until someone counts it. Then suddenly it becomes a definite yes or no. This quantum behavior challenges our most basic perceptions of reality. The particles exist in states of probability rather than definite positions until the moment of observation. Consciousness itself appears to be collapsing waves of possibility into concrete experience. This mirrors what ancient wisdom traditions have described for millennia. The Hindu concept of Maya portrays our perceived reality as a grand illusion. Not that nothing exists, but that what we perceive isn't ultimate truth. Similarly, Plato's allegory of the cave shows humans mistaking shadows for reality, unaware of the actual world beyond their limited perceptions. Nima Arkani-Hamed, a renowned physicist at Princeton's Institute for Advanced Study, emphasizes this point. I'm almost certain that space and time are illusions. These are primitive notions that will be replaced by something more sophisticated. Coming from one of today's leading theoretical physicists, this statement carries tremendous weight. Many top physicists now conclude that space-time is doomed. At the Planck scale, the smallest possible measurement in physics, space and time cease to have operational meaning altogether. They break down completely, suggesting they aren't fundamental aspects of reality, but emergent properties of something far more profound. The universe's true nature might be nothing like the three-dimensional reality unfolding in linear time that we experience. Consider how these insights align with evolutionary biology. Our senses evolved not to show us reality as it truly is, but to help us survive and reproduce. We perceive a simplified user interface, not the underlying code of existence. It's similar to how you interact with a trash can icon on your computer, rather than directly manipulating the complex code beneath it. Donald Hoffman's research suggests the probability is precisely zero that our perceptions of space, time, and physical objects match reality's true nature. That means the world you're experiencing fundamentally differs from how you perceive it. What these diverse fields are converging on is profound. What we call reality may be more like a shared dream, not an illusion that it doesn't exist, but in that its true nature is vastly different from how we perceive it. When we realize that the observer and the observed are one, the illusion of separation falls away. Throughout our exploration of perception, self, and reality, we've witnessed consciousness creating our experience. As Krishnamurti articulated, when the mind realizes the observer is the observed, there is a release of energy, a transformative insight that unleashes creative potential previously trapped in separation. This understanding reshapes our interactions. Every encounter becomes a mirror reflecting the universal consciousness that animates everything. Our perception shifts from seeing others as separate entities to recognizing them as expressions of the same awareness. Our minds construct reality from data filtered through belief systems. Yet beyond these mental constructions lies a spacious awareness that has always been here. Take a moment now to notice your thoughts without identifying with them. How will you live from this expanded understanding of who you truly are?